the 15th day of March 2015. This is the Point of News, the start of yet another week. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole.
And I'm John Allen. We've got lots lined up for you. The March by-election in Kajiado kicks off tomorrow. We've got the IEBC CEO Ezra Chiloba in here to talk about preparations regarding that, as well as some of the controversies that have been going on. There have been a few allegations thrown here, and it is politics, though, but we'll get his word on the same about that. But Checkpoint tonight, it's a big one, isn't it?
It is, and this time around, it's a one-on-one. Let's just go to that one. We put a hashtag today because we want to draw your attention to this and have you send in your feedback, your questions, because the word now that is put just before Ababu's name is, or the phrase is, embattled PAC chair. You know, everything that's been happening, the said tape. We'll be taking a look at that, analyzing it. And the question we're asking today is, do you believe he is innocent? Allegations have been thrown back and forth. Everybody, of course, saying, wasn't me. So we're asking, do you believe Ababu Namwamba is innocent? He will be live with us one-on-one. So please do send us your questions, your comments for him. Use our hashtag tonight, which is Checkpoint, as we continue with our focus on corruption.
Most definitely, we are going to be continuing with that focus, but there are lots of other stories, including Majority Leader Aden Duale's response to his own statement about negotiations with the Al-Shabaab. That's coming up in a few short moments, but now let's take the highlights on KTN Weekend Prime.
William Silla is our sign language interpreter tonight. Welcome to the Bulletin. We start off in Kajiado, where all is set for tomorrow's by-election.
KTN's Ian Wafula is on the ground and now joins us with the latest. Ian Wafula? Ian Wafula, can you hear us?
Indeed, we're counting down just hours to the Kajiado Central by-election, and tomorrow all polling stations open at around 6 a.m. And, you know, having talked to some of the residents in Kajiado, they have been anticipating for this day when they'll finally get to choose their member of parliament. Generally the campaigns have been peaceful and no cases of any violence has been reported. But today, rather, with the final preparations, we just managed to package a small story, having seen the electoral materials being transported to the various polling stations. We also had a chance to talk to the returning officer. He gave us an update of what to expect tomorrow. And in fact, here's that story. Just have a look at what went down today at the Kajiado Central constituency. It has been a busy day here in Kajiado Central. In fact, up until 3 p.m. when things slowed down, that is when the last vehicle transporting the election material left Masai Training Institute, which happens to be the main polling station where the results for tomorrow's by-election shall be announced. Now, earlier on, speaking to the returning officer for this by-election, that is Maurice Ligulu, he said that the electronic voters' identification devices are up and running and just ready for tomorrow, and he is confident that they shall be working. Here is what he had to say.
All voters will first be identified using the machines, and come evening, after they have finished counting and results have been announced at the polling stations, they'll transmit also electronically to the tallying center, and those are provisional results, and we'll only declare the final results using the original signed results.
Having a look at the Kajiado Central by-election in numbers, we have a total of 39,545 registered voters. We have 102 streams, all totaling up to 87 polling stations. We also have 3 candidates, among them Jubilee Alliance Patrick Tutui. We also have ODM's Elijah Memusi, and finally an independent candidate, that is Nkushama Kuntai. At around 4 p.m. we had a peace rally that brought together the 2 of the candidates, that is Jubilee's Patrick Tutui and also ODM's Elijah Memusi. Here they attended the rally where prayers were also held, not just for the by-election but also for the country as a whole.
Kama ule mtu ndampigia kura hata shinda, bado kuna amani, kwa sababu itategemea kwamba ni watu wangapi wamepata ama idadi. so si lazima watu wote wapige pande moja.
Itakuwa salama kabisa na kutakuwa na amani kabisa. Kesho itaendelea vizuri na kutakuwa na amani, na ndio sababu dhehebu mbalimbali imekuja hapa ili kuomba na kuleta usalama.
We shall be camped here as from today, and we shall continue to bring you updates as to what is going on tomorrow, giving you updates until the very last point when the last vote shall be counted and indeed the winner from this election shall be announced. Ian Wafula, KTN, Kajiado Central.
All right, so let's just give you some quick stats on that by-election that's taking place tomorrow. And let's start off with the candidates. Many say it's a two-horse race, but there are actually three candidates for this by-election. Let's start off with this gentleman here, Elijah Memusi. He will be running for this seat and hoping to get it on an ODM ticket. Let's just tell you about him. He, of course, was in TNA, if you recall, and he lost that nomination by 8,000. He got 8,848 votes to Tui garnered 10,502. From there, he moved and decamped to ODM, and of course, recently just got some support from Olen Timama, who's a very influential politician in this region. That is the candidate, and of course, this could be a very good election for him tomorrow, or a very sad day he would like to forget. He was born on March the 16th, 1977. He'll be celebrating his birthday tomorrow. Depending on which way the votes go, this could be a very good day for him, or one he would like to forget. Let's take a look at the second candidate there. This is an independent candidate, like we said, two-horse race, but please remember, there is Abraham Kuntai Nkashuma, who, according to his Facebook page, says that he works for the Hillgrove Baptist Church. He will also be running for that, and this is a photo we got from his Facebook page, and you want to definitely find out how this goes for him. And thirdly, the last candidate we have here is Patrick Tutui. He's from the Jubilee Alliance Party. Remember, the court just ruled a few days ago that he and the party can take part in these elections. A voter had gone to court saying that JAP wasn't registered in time. And then we had the judge's ruling that sided with the registrar of political parties that said that the name change from Conservative Party to the Jubilee Alliance Party was done within the law. And he is the one who will be carrying the Jubilee Alliance Party ticket tomorrow. Now, let's talk about Kajiado Central itself, and let's take a look at some of those statistics. Now, all of those three candidates will be fighting for votes from the 39,545 registered voters. There are 102 polling stations with 5 county assembly wards. And the IEBC has said they have 750 officials that they have already sent out to Kajiado Central just to man these elections. 204 will be dealing with security, 300 are clerks, 102 are presiding officers. If you want to take a look at the numbers in terms of the voter turnout for the primaries for both ODM and TNA in this one, ODM had 11,774 of the final votes, and Jubilee had 25,256. That was about 64% of the total number of registered voters. Will this be the same come tomorrow? We will wait and see. And let's talk about those preparations for this by-election now that you're up to speed on that. And John Alanam was joined by the CEO of the Commission.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ezra Chiloba, CEO of IEBC. Let's start where Yvonne left off in terms of preparation. She's laid out what seems to be a very interesting and very, very expansive preparation by the IEBC. But Kajiado Central is an expansive and sometimes very difficult constituency to deal with in terms of communications.
Right.
How sure are we that we're going to be getting the results from polling station real time to ensure that the results get in as quickly as they are cast?
Well, thank you very much, John Adam. What I will say is that indeed Kajiado is a challenging landscape. The constituency, that is Kajiado Central, covers about 4,200 square kilometers. That is vast. And what we've been looking at the last couple of weeks, we're trying to map out in terms of what are the likely challenges that we are going to face as a commission if we end up in a situation that does not meet the minimum standards of running a good election. And what we came across was, one, the road network. That's a challenge. So far, only 14 polling stations are closer to to the tarmac road. The rest of the 87 polling stations are much interior. But we've put in place measures to ensure that accessibility is available, to ensure that every station gets the voting material in good time.
Yeah.
And in this case, just by 7 o'clock, just to confirm that majority of those officers had already called to confirm that they're already in stations. When it comes to network, the challenges with the network, in terms of mobile communication, but we've been working together with Safaricom and Airtel to just ensure that when need be, then we have the network available for us to be able to transmit provisional result.
All right.
But something to add on that is that, what we've told our officers is that the most important thing will be the counting that will take place at the polling station.
Yes.
But soon thereafter, if there's no network to transmit, they need to start moving towards the tallying center. And along the way, if they find network, let them be able to transmit that particular data.
All right, let's get down to the politics of the election.
Right.
And there have been complaints, as with many other by-elections and elections in Kenya, of fraud, especially complaints coming from ODM on the same, especially with respect to the immediate former holder of that seat, Joseph Nkaiseri, campaigning on behalf of their candidate, their use of state machinery. What can IEBC do to crack the whip on things that are obviously illegal?
Well, we've heard about that, but it's unfortunate that we've not had anything on file officially. There have been those claims, but what we've also done is to deploy our investigators on the ground. They've been around. They've come across certain cases that require further investigations. And as the Commission, we're going to handle that, especially after this election. We have to send a message, especially on facts that we've ourselves established. And in due course, you should be able to hear from us.
Even if these people, the people who are infringing on electoral rules, come from the government, that is something that you pledge.
Yeah, it's something that we're going to follow it up.
All right.
Yeah.
The election seems, as Yvonne had mentioned, to be attracting quite a bit of attention. 64% voter turnout, just in the prelude to this by-election, meaning that there's a lot of eyes on the IEBC, and I'll take it back to the issue of vote counting and vote tallying. One of the huge problems from the last election, the March 2013 election, was in the variances between the votes at the polling station in the Form 34s and the votes at the at the tallying center, the Form 36. How have you tightened the screws there to ensure that we're reading from the same scripts from the principal document to the document that'll be used to announce the results? Yeah, well, John, you should recall that we've run over 15 by-elections since 2013, and all by-elections have been successful, and this one is not going to be different. What we have done, we've deployed our staff on the ground. We've been able to train them. We've been able to test our machines, the technology they're going to apply there. We've opened the doors to observers. We're going to have political party agents on the ground, and all of them are there to perform a certain function to ensure that we deliver credible results. So we believe that we have taken all measures necessary to ensure that the results coming out of the polling stations, the tallying center, are going to be credible. All right, final question before we let you go, Bwana Chiloba. The voter registration has been going on quietly, and I have to stress quietly, being done by the IEBC. Where is the IEBC in terms of publicizing what is really a public event? What are the numbers? How is it taking place? The Justice and Legal Affairs Committee in Parliament is itself complaining that they had no idea that this was going on. Well, I think we have to put that into context. The Constitution requires us to do continuous voter registration. But the facts on the ground is that, we have offices spread across the country in terms of constituency offices. You go there, you'll find a constituency elections officer. And what we said is that these officers, instead of just sitting there waiting for an election, they have to be doing something. So we started a program on continuous voter registration. And the numbers have not been good. And what we had also tried to do was to get resources under the current budget
to be able to support that exercise, and we do not have enough money. Our estimate was initially that we're going to have about 60 million shillings to facilitate those officers to carry out the continuous voter registration, but that did not happen. So we only got just a little about 12 million, which we've been trying to share across all the 290 constituencies.
All right, so short of money.
Short of money. But let me mention something that is important, that we are keen to ensure that before the next election, we have all potential voters to be on the voters' roll. And in our case, we are targeting about 8 million. If you look at the data that we had in 2012 and the projection that we had then, the population trends that we have now, so we are confident that before the next election, in the next 2 years, we can actually bring on board about 8 million voters.
All right.
But this is going to happen only if we get adequate resources to carry out national voter registration across the country.
All right, Mr. Chiloba, I'm going to have to stop you there. Not much time to discuss those very, very wide issues.
I look forward to an occasion to explain that.
Definitely, and good luck tomorrow with the by-election in Kajiado Central. Thank you very much for joining us on KTN Weekend Prime. Let's just move on for a moment. The leader of Majority, Aden Duale, now says he did not call for negotiations with the Al-Shabaab terror group. Duale, who spoke to the BBC Somali service, was quoted as saying Kenya could send elders, religious leaders and politicians over the terror issue. But earlier today, Duale distanced himself from the sentiments, saying he has never and shall never negotiate with terrorists, bandits, militants or drug dealers.
Just hours after the latest terror attack in Kenya came the BBC interview in which the leader of Majority in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, appeared to extend an olive branch to the Al-Shabaab terrorist group. But now the leader of Majority is distancing himself from the sentiments, calling for negotiations with the Al-Shabaab. On his Twitter page, Duale posted, "We have never and shall never negotiate with terrorists, militants, bandits and drug dealers." And on the streets, many feel Duale is way off the line.
There is no way a government should negotiate with a terror group.
Outrightly no, under all circumstances.
A terror group cannot be condoned.
Sitaki wakae na wale na wasikae wasiongeleshana hata.
I think the government should not agree to talk to them.
That's like giving a white flag. We don't have to surrender to them. Shows that we're weak in power.
So where would you negotiate with the criminal?
Government should not negotiate. They should simply take action.
Shabab na serikali ya Kenya hawahusiani. Hakuna mahali wanaweza kuhusiana ndio wafanye negotiation.
Last year, President Uhuru Kenyatta asked politicians to keep off security matters as the war on terror becomes a hot potato for the Jubilee government.
Tuache mambo ya security kwa maofisa wa usalama. Tusiingize siasa kwa mambo ya usalama. Maofisa wa usalama wakubaliwe wafanye kazi yao kulingana na sheria.
The controversial statements may put Duale on the spot, but the MP from the border county of Garissa is not new to controversy. The sentiments directed at Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto led to varied reactions, including calls for an apology. But Duale's latest statement touching on a sensitive national issues such as terrorism may haunt him for a while. Rita Tinina, KTN.
All right, we want to move away from those matters now and get into what's happening within Parliament. There could yet be another parliamentary bribery scandal, this time coming from the Agriculture Committee. Members of that committee are divided over a report that will soon be tabled in Parliament on investigations into the collapse of the sugar sector in the country. Those opposed to the report say some powerful individuals have bribed members of the committee to alter the report and have some names expunged from it. Aaron Acheng has more.
As the National Assembly seeks to resolve the corruption scandal surrounding its Public Accounts Committee, it appears the August House is not out of the woods. Now, the Departmental Committee on Agriculture is embroiled in yet another row over alleged bribery. Some members of the committee are distancing themselves from a report due to be presented in Parliament about the troubles of the sugar sector. They claim external forces are seeking to influence the report.
There was allegation from one Honorable Savola that the chairman of the committee was given some money, and he presented us with a statement from Equity Bank that he alleged that that money was given to the chair to compromise the committee.
Nyando, member of parliament who sits in the committee, alleges that millions of shillings were paid to committee members to ensure an earlier draft was altered. The legislator further claims that even committee members from sugar-growing regions did not care about their electorate, implying that they should have supported the earlier draft report.
I did not sign this report because I think, as a committee, it is our duty to do an oversight and protect Kenyans from any corruption, any misdeed by, or any attempt by individual to fleece the citizens, especially the farmers.
The committee sat last weekend and resolved to strike out names and recommendations thought to hurt some powerful individuals that amassed wealth at the expense of the local sugar sector.
It also touches to an extent the board of directors.
Equally frustrated with the about turn in the committee is Mumias East Member of Parliament Benjamin Washali, in whose constituency Mumias Sugar Company is situated.
Part of their committee was to relieve the former managers, especially those who are holding public positions, to relieve them from their positions, and very, very strongly worded memorandum.
We are going to stop at nothing in making sure that millions of Kenyans who depend on sugarcane do not become paupers because of a few people who want to enrich themselves.
Mumias Sugar Company, the biggest sugar miller in the country, is currently on its knees owing to what a recent audit termed as mismanagement. The audit report by KPMG links several powerful individuals, including Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero, with the fall. Claims Kidero has denied vigorously.
It is a draft report to which we were never given an opportunity to respond to.
Parliamentary analysts now fear that if members of the Agriculture Committee received bribes to alter their report, parliamentary reports are time-bound, and if the current controversy continues to dog the sugar report, then the House may not have a chance to debate its findings, and Kenyans may never know what or who brought Kenya's sweet sugar industry to its knees. It all started with the revelation of massive corruption at the Public Accounts Committee, and now the same has spilled over to the Departmental Committee of Agriculture. ARC Parliamentary Committee reports anything Kenyans would go by. Aaron Ochieng, KTN, Nairobi.
And of course, corruption is the subject of Checkpoint tonight. We can confirm that our guest, Ababu Namwaba, Member of Parliament for Budalangi and embattled chair of the PAC, is in the building and will be speaking to Yvonne Okwara later on his fight as well as the subject of corruption countrywide. Now to a story that's coming from, in terms of the story itself, is coming from a rather unlikely place. Would you have ever thought of drought in Nyanza? Victor Ogale has the details.
At the heart of Homa Bay County, women troop to what is now the only source of water here. The Kabondo Dam is now infested by algae and other water plants. The residents say it is already taking a toll on their health. This is now a meeting point for both man and beast as the drought ravaging many parts of the country continues to bite. Kabondo Dam serves the entire West Karachuonyo area that has a population of more than 12,000 people, with us walking for as many as 15 kilometers just to get a jerrycan of water. The dry spell has also affected the learning patterns of schools as students are forced to fetch water in the morning before going to class. Learning now has to start late. In some schools, learning now ends at 2 p.m. to give students and teachers time to go fetch water for their families.
Sasa kama mimi natoka mbali kilomita 4 hivi naamuka saa 11. Nafika hapa napata watu wamejaa hapa sana. Hata watoto hawezi soma kwa shule. Ikifika saa 8 watoto wanalala tu. Walimu pia wanalala juu ya maji. Watoto hawezi soma bila kuoga.
Upande wa kunywa sasa itabidi tuweke madawa, ama kuna wengine wanachemusha, lakini sasa vile kuni pia inakuanga mshida. Sasa zingine hatuwezi pata kuni, sasa itabidi tutafute kitu kama dawa ndio sasa ikae safe for drinking.
The struggles that the people of this area go through in accessing clean water is just but a mere fraction of what many residents of rural Nyanza are going through currently during this dry spell. 79-year-old Penina Abuya at her advanced stage has to walk to Kobondo Dam 3 times daily. Together with other women from her village, they head home, but midway through, the load is too much for Penina to bear. She has to shed off some of her precious water before she can continue with the journey. On arrival at her home, she boils the water, which at first sight one could mistake for coffee. Meters away is Pamela Kitch's home. Here we find her making porridge.
Sasa hii uji ni ya white na unaona vile imekuwa nyeusi na unga ni nyeupe.
It is now approaching midday and at the dam heads of cattle flock to quench their thirst. As we noticed, it is not only humans who get stuck in the mud at the dam. The cattle too are not spared. Kobondo Dam was constructed in 2012 by the Water Ministry at a cost of 7 million shillings. But with the drought getting worse by the day, even this dam is not enough to cool off the troubles of this constituency. Penina and her colleagues do not know how long it will take before they get back to their normal lives. But they hope it won't be too late if and when that happens. Victor Ugale, KTN, from the county of Kisumu.
All right, so after all that heavy stuff, it's time to turn it down a notch. It's time for Mock the Week tonight. So in a world where snitches get stitches and dancing is the fastest route to the presidency, the MCAs are slowly realizing that their honorable days are numbered.
Join Wilson Buru and Jerry Mushura on this week's edition of Mock the Week as they tell you why Kiribati is the best place to go hibernate. Well, a very good evening to you and welcome to Mock the Week. My name is Wilson Buru and contrary to popular belief, I still work here even after losing to Ferdinand Waitito in Kabete.
Wilson Buru, who just got the High Court note to vie, got 336 votes.
But that's not necessarily the end of the road. I might decamp and try my chance again because honestly, we don't know whether that blackout thing will hit us again. I'm sure Ferdinand Waitito must be very happy. And speaking of happiness, hey, yes. Our favorite dancing couple was at it again. What, you don't believe this is our favorite dancing couple? Okay. Let me give you some proof. You know, from all this dancing, one can clearly see who the president is and who is not. Mr. Deputy President, Your Excellency, sir, come here. Come here. Let me have a word with you. I understand that you have other political ambitions apart from being number 2 or the president's ADC. Small problem. You can't dance. I mean, have you seen your boss dance? Boy, that guy can get down. And looking at you in all these videos, you look like you've not been having lunch. The good news is, there's about 7 years between now and, you know, the time when you hope to be president. So here's what we'll do. Let's give you something to practice on. Turn down for what?
Mr. Ruto, if you dance like that, you might even be president sooner than you may want to. But, you know why Uhuru and Ruto are this happy? It's because the country has been very peaceful from the shenanigans by the MCAs.
Tuesday's images of fistfights among members of Nakuru County Assembly shocked the entire nation.
Shocked nation? Really? Shocked. I'm curious, which nation? Daily Nation, National Oil, National Theatre? Which nation was shocked by MCAs fighting inside their county assembly? But please, Betty, continue. I interrupted you.
MCAs exchanged kicks and blows over the leadership of the county assembly.
Exchanged kicks and blows. You know what? My apologies to Betty. I can see why this shocked the entire nation. All they did was exchange kicks and blows. Willing giver, willing getter. So, do we have footage of this so-called exchange? Yes? That's the new system of exchanging kicks and blows, right?
Yeni spika ya wapi? Anatoroka kama mtoto.
Hivyo sisi kama waheshimiwa tunagojea tu maamuzi ya koti. Na lazima sisi kama waheshimiwa wa kaunti tuheshimu sheria.
Whoa. Hold it right there, Mr. of Ambitious. Do you ever read the newspaper? Huh? Granted though, that bill has not become law just yet. So the only explanation we can give is that this guy was trying to use all the waheshimiwa words in his system before they could run out of stock.
Na lazima sisi kama waheshimiwa wa kaunti tuheshimu sheria.
Yeah, it's good to be ambitious. Your dreams are valid, sir. But you know whose valid dreams are now becoming a nightmare? This guy. Let me explain. So, Ababu says he saw things that were not exactly church-worthy, and he decided to go record it and then accuse other people of eating chicken when they were supposed to be fasting. The result?
I feel that my life is in danger. I am not entirely safe because of the many powerful forces at play here.
Where do I even start with this one? You know what? Let's go over this situation one more time, all right? You saw people doing funny business. You recorded it, and then you ran and told other people. Then you were supposedly given death threats. I am not an expert, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works around here. I mean, surely, what did you expect? Cake? Flowers? Cake and flowers? A night at the Kempinski? Come on. Anyway, right about this moment, let's bring in our in-house corruption expert, Jerry Mushura, to shed a bit more light on this. Jerry, first question, is Ababu Namwamba being too ambitious?
Wilson, before I even answer that question, let's play a little game.
Okay,
I'll say a name and what that person does, and you tell me where they are, okay?
Okay.
John Gidongo, Anglo-listening snitch.
That's simple. He is hibernating somewhere in the UK or something.
Well done. Julius Assange, WikiLeaks leak.
That's a bit tough. But I believe that he is hiding under a bed inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London, in the UK.
Good job. Last one. Ababu Namwamba, Public Accounts Committee snitch.
He is in. Okay, Jerry. I think I get the pattern. But what's your point, really?
You see, this is what I mean. What is he still doing here? If you see a bull, an angry, raging bull charging towards you, breathing fire and brimstone, and you are wearing a red tie, what do you do?
That sounds like a pretty obvious question to me, Jerry, and I still come back to the same question. What is your point?
My point, Wilson, snitches get stitches. And Ababu is not moving out of the way. Basically, our friend Ababu here needs to do 3 things. 1, run. 2, run very fast. Number 3, run very, very fast to a very, very far place. For example, to the UK or Kiribati. Because if you don't go to snitch-friendly environments,
We'll deal with them circumfoniously.
I still don't get the meaning of that word that lady has just said. And what country was that you said? Kiri what? Where is... You know what, let him go Google. But on a more serious note, Jerry, corruption is a big problem in this country. How do we deal with it?
I think, that's the problem right there. If you've tried something for 51 years and it fails every time, maybe it's just time to accept it. I mean, you know what? This corruption thing, it's part of our DNA. Let us just accept it and move on. We are a very corrupt country. End of story. And if you eat and tell, or see people eating and tell,
I feel that my life is in danger. I am not entirely safe.
I could actually see myself living with acceptance. As a matter of fact, speaking of which, now that we are here now, this segment was brought to you by corruption. Corruption.
well done, Wilson. Okay.
The East African Motocross Club Championships today launched the 2015 FIM Africa Cross Country Challenge that will be held on the 19th and the 20th of June in Timau Forest. The competition will see Kenyan enduro riders take on competitors from other African countries in a battle for a slot on the prestigious Dakar Rally.
After a successful outing by Kenya motocross riders last year in the African Championship in Zambia, Kenya successfully bid to host this year's FIM Africa Cross Country Championship. With the standards of motocross in the country still lagging behind, the Kenyan Federation hopes that bringing world-class competitions into the country will help improve the Kenyan rider skills through exposure.
Competing in international sports outside Kenya so that we begin to see exactly what's going on and bringing them here. So when the riders come in from South Africa, Zambia, Botswana, all over, we'll begin to realize what we know and what we don't know.
We are doing the good Kenyan thing of taking it to high altitude, and hopefully we can take advantage.
The Kenyan team will have among them experienced riders in Rosefield, Shivam Vinayak, Ian Duncan, Tutu Maina, Shaza Anwar, among others. Riders from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia and Botswana are expected to grace the event, riding on an approximately 40 kilometers on the course. As the Federation also celebrates women riders in Kenya, they are now calling for more women to join the sport.
We're also celebrating Women's Day, and for that we have lady riders. You'll see a lovely lady rider over here. They're coming out to learn how to ride and support motocross.
I'm much older than most of the other lady drivers, yes, so hopefully I'm also an idol to them, since it doesn't matter what age you are.
The competition will take place on the 19th and 20th of June, where only one rider will be selected to take part in the Dakar Rally. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
The Kenya Bodybuilding Federation is up in arms following reports that a different faction has been trying to register a federation under a similar banner. The federation is calling upon the sports registrar to be on alert and put measures into place to avoid double registration. The Bodybuilding Federation is adamant that they are the bona fide body mandated to manage the sport in the country, warning the public against people purporting to act on their behalf. A letter in their possession confirms that they are still in the process of registration as per the new Sports Act regulations. This is the second federation after the Hockey Federation that has had to fend off interest from people out to register a similar federation.
Aina ya mchezo moja katika nchi mzima. So kuna wenye wanadanganya wachezaji ya kwamba wanaweza jiunga na shirika kutoka nje bila kushirikiana na ile federation yenye iko kwa nchi.
John Kiragu emerged the overall winner of the Beyond Zero Charity Golf Day at Karen Country Club. He shot 43 Stableford points to achieve the feat. FM Kaharuka carded 41 points to emerge the men's winner. FG Karaoke was the men's runner-up with 40 Stableford points. The ladies' winner in the event was Wanja Kimani on 41 points. The lady runner-up honors went to Rose Njendu on 39 points. Immediate former Kenya Rugby Union chairman, back to the men's at least, was Mwangi Muthe, was the runner-up with 38 points. And Muthe won himself 2 nights for 2 at the Tribe.
All of us in the cabinet have been supporting the First Lady for graciously really running for a very worthy cause. And so I haven't, every time she's running, I thought I would join her and run with her. But every time I'd be on a trip somewhere and I really have not had time to do something like this for this worthy cause that she started. And so I'm very, very happy that finally we have done it.
We want to get into your feedback now on our discussion on Checkpoint. At Honorable Bonyati, you say, let Arama substantiate fully his claim that Ababu indeed took the 5 million. He must be having important information. Hussein Salat says, a Kenyan politician has never taken personal responsibility over his or her bad deeds. Ababu must come clean.
Alan Onganga says, very interestingly, about, I guess, Mock the Week and Ababu's discussion. That Are you implying that he should live like a hermit?
Yes, and I actually saw the thread of this conversation because people started to ask whether, ask about his flashy lifestyle, allegedly. And, now saying, well, should he live like a hermit? And, you remember certain allusions to the suits he wears on JKL.
Oh, yes, definitely. And Kanali Nixon has a rather negative one here, but he says, but all these parliamentary committees are just bribery collecting machines.
Wow.
And I guess it would appear so given what's going to happen on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, and indeed, as KTN has stayed true to that since we came back on air. We're focusing on corruption in the country, and we do indeed promise to follow up on that. And starting tomorrow, please do stay tuned to our primetime bulletins, because we will be focusing on corruption. We'll be focusing on the allegations, on those reports, on some of those big scandals that have come out of this and that are the cause of this entire conversation. So please do keep it with us, and thank you so much for your feedback tonight.
Most definitely. And if you are people who would like to read those reports, they make for absolutely damning reading. It's ridiculous, the kind of things that have been going on in this country, if those reports are to be believed.
And we'll be letting you in on those reports, and we'll be breaking them down for you throughout the week. So please do stay tuned to KTN Prime and KTN Weekend Prime. Thanks for your feedback tonight. It's been great having you. It's been great interacting with you tonight. We wish you a great week ahead. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole.
And I'm John Allen Namu. Good night and have a great week ahead.